All right, well, hello everyone and happy Tuesday. It's digital host AJ Wuest here, welcoming you back to Before the Four. Of course, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories, and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. Wherever you're watching Before the Four today, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or our 48 Now live stream. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your afternoon here. Now, we're going to turn it over to our own Jada Russell. Jada, I hear rain is on the way.
That's right. We are expecting to see rain chances in the evening. And as you can see right now, a lot of us are still sitting in some of those 70s. And we're starting to see that increase in cloud cover going through the rest of this evening. We'll see that continue. And really what we're expecting with the rain chance for right now, it's going to pick up later tonight. And it's going to be more of an issue heading into your Wednesday than this evening. So once again, expecting to see a lot of our communities step into the 60s in the next couple of hours. So what we're looking at is temperatures in the 60s overnight tonight and dropping into those mid 50s for a couple areas. We could expect to see a little struggle as you go through most of your process for tonight, whether it be running errands or if you have any late activities, or even if you just work kind of the night shift. It's going to be a little rough going because once the rain starts, it's only going to increase going through the rest of tonight. So we'll see some 60s, expecting to hit some 50s going into your Wednesday. We've now declared Wednesday a first alert weather day for the morning because, like I mentioned, these rain chances are starting to increase as we go into Wednesday morning, and it's heavy rain that we're anticipating. And that could be a messy commute for everyone going into your Wednesday morning. So we want to make sure that you are well aware as possible as you can be. So the other thing that we're looking at too is a second first alert weather day on Saturday. Yes, Valentine's Day. If you have any Valentine's Day plans, we're expecting more rain chances. Pretty similar setup. We're expecting about 1 to 3 inches of rain on Saturday and some gusty winds at times. So with that being said, tune in tonight, 4, 5, 6, and 10 for a full look at your forecast coming from Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis. I'll give it back to AJ.
All right, well, thank you, Jada. Great to know. And also, don't forget 48 First Alert Weather Extra tonight at 9:30. You can watch it on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, wherever you're watching Before the Four right here. But Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis, he'll be back here in the streaming center. He'll go through the radar, everything you need to know. So you're just not going to want to miss it. 48 First Alert Weather Extra. Now, we're going to jump into some of the day's top stories, and earlier today we learned that the mayor of Sheffield was airlifted to Vanderbilt Medical Center last night after emergency responders were called to his home. Now, Brian Van Devender was initially taken to Helen Keller Hospital last night before being flown to Nashville for treatment. No further information has been released at this time, but Aria Pons is working today to find out more information. She'll have the latest coming up in our evening newscasts. And now funeral arrangements have been announced for legendary Huntsville blues icon Microwave Dave. The service will be held at the Episcopal Church of Nativity on Saturday, February 28th at 2 p.m. A reception will follow the service. Microwave Dave sadly passed away on Friday. And now an update on the Oakwood boys basketball team after they were suspended from postseason play for playing one regular season game more than allowed by the Alabama High School Athletic Association. Now, today, a Montgomery Circuit Court ruled that the team will now be allowed to compete in the Area 16 basketball tournament. Now, the team was originally suspended for playing 31 regular season games this season, which is one more than allowed. That scheduling error was self-reported by the school. Oakwood will now face Woodville tonight at 7. And with that, we are going to take a short break, but coming up, a Decatur mother is speaking out after her 4-year-old child was left in a daycare van in the cold. Details on a new bridge that could be coming to the River City, and taking a look at some history here in Huntsville. You're just not going to want to miss it. It's all ahead. We'll go through it all in 1 minute. All right, break time over. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Before the Four. And now in Decatur, a mother is angry after her 4-year-old was left in the cold in a daycare van. Callie Neese spoke with her and has more. Let's take a look.
Broke into tears as she recalled the events from just 2 weeks ago when her 4-year-old son Master was left on a daycare van. Good told me that Master has been attending the Love and Joy Learning Center for a few months, and he has always taken the daycare van to school. So when the school called saying he was not there, even though she dropped him off at daycare, she rushed to Love and Joy. That's when they went to look in the van.
I get outside and she's walking up with my baby, holding my baby's hand with his book bag and his coat in her hand. And I was like, where was my baby at? And she was like, I'm so sorry. He was in the van.
Good said she then took Master to see the school nurse, and even though it was a very cold day, Master was shaken up, but he was all right.
I know that I have to protect my baby. And I kind of trusted this place to protect him when I wasn't there, and they didn't. So I feel like I was let down.
In the police report that Good showed me, it says the daycare employees said it was the driver's first day. Good thinks more should have been done to prevent this from happening.
I mean, yeah, it happened to my child, but it happened to somebody else's child. They might not make it. So that's what I want to prevent. Like, they need to do better.
Good has taken Master out of daycare at Love and Joy. Now, I did reach out to them for comment, and I have yet to hear back. Reporting in Decatur, Callie Neese, 48 News, on your side.
And staying in Decatur, a new bridge could be coming to the River City that will make it much easier to commute. Noah Cowell spoke with Mayor Kent Lawrence and has the details. Let's take a look.
Decatur's first bridge study was back in 2023 when Mayor Tab Bowling was still in office. Now Kent Lawrence has taken his place and is still following in those footsteps. Mayor Lawrence has lived in Decatur all his life and told me traffic flow into the city has been bad for 50 years and is even worse now that 55,000 cars pass on the bridge a day.
We've built 2 bridges since then, but there's been continual growth, so really my whole life it's been a problem. All of North Alabama is growing. And crossing this river is important to all of North Alabama, not just residents of Decatur.
Lawrence and City Councilman Carlton McMaster say this study will take some time, but it's absolutely necessary if they want to fund this major project down the road.
Every penny we're spending on a study is required by the feds in order to get to the next step. We got to do origin and destination. Now we've got to do environmental. Once that's done, we can get into the design aspect of it, and then we've got to pay for design. And then once that's done, then we start going to D.C. and our friends in Montgomery.
Michael Hudson is encouraged to see an effort to improve traffic, and it's not just because the Hudson Memorial Bridge is named after his grandfather. He's also a retired wildlife biologist, and he says building a new bridge without impacting areas like the Swan Creek and Wheeler Wildlife Refuge will not be easy.
Grandpa's bridge will be there, as long as it's serving a purpose. But a new bridge, the river itself, wherever it flows, is an important place environmentally. We need to be very careful about where that bridge is put.
And I'm looking on Facebook right now. I see Donna Oliver from Phil Campbell is watching. Hello, Donna. D.O. from PC. I hope all is well with you, Donna. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And now take a look at this. Travel in the Jim Crow South always meant the potential threat of danger for black families. Places to eat and stay were limited because of segregation. But here in Huntsville, there was at least one place African Americans could find safety. 48's Jonathan Skinner shows us the history of the first motel in Huntsville for African Americans.
It might not look like a lot now, but at one time, this lot at 1302 Posey Avenue was home to Huntsville history. If you're an African American looking to travel in the 1950s or 60s, you probably use this, a green book. And if you're coming to Huntsville, you search in here for the site of the Gladys Jane Motel. Opened on April 23, 1959, it was Huntsville's first motel for African Americans. Before it opened, traveling to the area would typically require staying with family and extensive planning.
Many of them just traveled on the road and knew the distance that they need. They packed their lunches and whatever accommodations they need because they knew they couldn't stop at various hotels or gas stations or restaurants because they would not be received.
The motel was opened by James and Lily Mae Moore and named after their daughters, Gladys and Jane. Dr. Jane Blackwell says her mother and father's story is one of innovation in the face of injustice. James, a brick mason, and Lily Mae, a cook, only had grade school educations, but were entrepreneurs at heart. Together, they started a formal cafe named the Paradise Inn, and after that, with the help of family, they opened the motel.
My father and his brother, Lawrence Moore, decided to purchase that land, and they built the motel.
Though young girls when it first opened, Jane has fond memories of going to the Gladys Jane Motel with her sister after school.
Many times we actually got a chance to be the clerks to check people in.
And some of the travelers were well known.
I think the biggest memory that I have was when Aretha Franklin and her father, who was a pastor, came down for a conference, being able to sit down and hear her beautiful voice. I wished I had gotten autographs.
This picture from the grand opening celebration shows community members who came out to see the new building. From that day, the business began to grow, going from an original 7 units to 16 in a restaurant called Geneva's Grill, named after Jane's stepsister.
And we were pretty much booked all the time.
But not everyone was happy to see a new Black-owned business thriving.
We would have some people to drive by and, of course, call out some racial remarks. But that wasn't a stopping factor for my family. We knew who we were. We knew what we could do. We had a vision to help others.
In the late 80s, after Jane's father passed away, the family had challenges maintaining the property, and it would eventually be demolished in the early 2000s. But Jane says it still leaves a lasting legacy.
Their resilience, in spite of the segregation and civil rights and Jim Crow, all of that era going on, they pursued their vision and their dream.
Today, the only thing that still stands here is the pole that once held the sign for the Gladys Jane Motel. But with the help of the community, Jane says that she's hoping to place a historical marker here so people always remember the impact it had on Huntsville. Jonathan Skinner, WAFF 48 News, on your side.
Awesome stuff there. And now let's go into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. A call for justice rally here in Huntsville after a viral video showed a man being hit by officers while being arrested. The latest on the search for Nancy Guthrie, more details today. And finally, crime stats here in Huntsville. See if crime increased or decreased last year in the Rocket City. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. And y'all, it's just about that time. We didn't have one yesterday. We had to cut yesterday's a bit short, but we're bringing it today. That, of course, is Facebook Fun, our 48 Facebook question that we asked yesterday. What was the commercial that stole the show for you during the Super Bowl? For all of you who watched the Super Bowl, I personally mostly watched for commercials. I didn't really have a dog in the fight. Seahawks, Patriots. I'm Atlanta Falcons fan, so my team didn't even make the playoffs. So I was just along for the ride, and let's see what commercials you guys like the most. Looks like Nicole Brannon said Budweiser was beautiful. Awesome commercial with the eagle. You had, of course, the horse. You had Freebird by Leonard Skinner, one of my all-time favorite songs. It was just a beautiful commercial. Budweiser always kills the game. They always seem to have the best commercial of the year. Pepsi was also a great laugh. That was a good one as well with the polar bears. They were on the cam. They were caught on cam, similar to the CEO situation last year. Awesome stuff, Nicole. Thank you so much. Hannah said the Matthew McConaughey commercial about football selling you food. And there were multiple of those Matthew McConaughey commercials. Every single one of them cracked me up. I especially liked the Sourdough Sam commercial with the 49ers mascot. And we all know that 49ers mascot is behind it. Sourdough Sam. He's trying to sell you food. Awesome stuff there. Thank you, Hannah. Jennifer. There it is again, the Freebird, Budweiser, and the Eagle. Again, awesome commercial. And that was a very popular comment when I was looking at the comments. Thank you, Jennifer. Jan Brown said the Benson Boone commercial. That was another really good one as well. Thank you, Jan. And let's see. This one was one of my favorites. Jess Ellis said definitely the prostate cancer one. Release your tight end. Relax your tight end. With Rob Gronkowski saying that he's just a very funny guy. And also my guy, Tony Gonzalez was in that commercial wearing an Atlanta Falcons jersey. Awesome commercials, awesome comments, as always, from you all. That is it for today's Before the Four, but thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. Enjoy our evening newscast, and as always, I hope y'all have a great night.